Hey, you guys, and welcome to the Steele Wars Roundtable. I feel like my face is two-faced. One's in shadow and one's not. So that is very quite the metaphor for how I've evolved with this episode over the past 24 to 36 hours. Who can count? It's been a busy week. I'm Steele Saunders. I do love Star Wars, and welcome to the Steele Wars Roundtable. If you're watching live on YouTube, you are listening on the podcast that you can subscribe to on iTunes, wherever you do that. The Patreon podcast, maybe you're on Twitter, seeing this on Periscope or Facebook. Facing the book. Welcome all, and we are here to discuss a real thinker in the Mandalorian franchise, the Believer. And to do that, we have assembled quite a squad from the Blue Harvest podcast. We got Hawes. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, buddy.
Thanks for being had. How's the ever-present glow of this new era of Boba Fett treating you?
Pretty great. Pretty stoked.
Excellent. From the Star Wars Friends Show, we've got Maggie. How you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good. And we haven't seen him for the rest of the season, but just over your shoulder, you've got the galaxy's greatest haircut, Cobb Vanth.
The most handsome boy, second to Din Djarin.
Oh, well, let's just put a simmer on that heat until we get there. Don't worry, I've got frame grabs. I knew what would make our guests feel welcome and happy. From the Sith list, we've got Les. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. How's everybody else doing?
Doing pretty good. Now, how's this? You had Boo came on the show last week.
Yes, he did.
He did his Naboo trivia, made famous on the Sith list.
Okay.
Because it's always horrible and messed up. And then he Nabooed us on the Naboo and just did a normal quiz. It was very confusing.
Well, that's the thing about Naboo. It's supposed to be confusing. So you got the full experience.
Yeah, it was like the snake oil grifter actually had a good product for once.
Yeah, exactly. And you're dumbfounded because it worked. And you're like, wait, what?
Yeah, I was left confused and afraid. I feel like.
Yeah, don't worry. He lit us up for revenge. He got us for revenge, so don't worry.
Oh, really? Okay. Very happy to have from the Geeky Bubble Pod. It's Jonah Marie. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Now, in your background, I love doing it on the video thing because it's like one of my favorite things about doing interviews with people and stuff about Star Wars. You go to their house and you get to see all their cool stuff. And I often have to say, oh, just give me 5 minutes just to slack jaw. I just need to take this in before I can focus on you again. But you in your background have got some amazing Rebels art, Ahsoka art going on there. Is that by you or is that other fan art?
No, I wish it was by me. That would be awesome. But no, I'm not at that level yet. No, but that's just art that I've gathered over the years. And I thought, I'm in a new place. I might as well put them up because otherwise they're just going to gather dust in a box somewhere.
Please. The art in boxes is just a tragic thing.
It's travesty, right?
And I do have to point out, for those that are just listening on the podcast, when I mentioned how I like seeing people's backgrounds, Hawes looked behind himself and went, hey, man, I've got an arcade machine, 87 pops.
I was just making sure it didn't look all messed up or something. That was more of being paranoid than being
self-conscious.
You didn't say anything about Street Fighter.
And this guy's background says so much. This is our pink skulled friend from the Robbo Report. How you doing, Robbo?
I'm good, Steele, and I'm happy to be joining you tonight.
you got to open your mouth wider when you're talking because your mouth isn't open. That's
happy to. Hey, look, I don't have a tongue. You're lucky you can hear anything.
So I watched the episode again today, and there's still a couple of little plot points that I just don't get. Face scanning for one. But I kind of realized I just went negative on this because it was sort of confirmed throughout the day that there's going to be this galactic squadron. What's it called, Hawes? Help me out.
Rogue Squadron?
No, the Galactic Soldiers or the Range Troopers.
The Rangers?
Of the New Republic.
Yes, it's been a long couple of days. And then as I was watching the start of the episode, I'm like, oh well, that's Cara Dune and Bill Burr are the stars of this show. And then that sort of like, for the rest of it, I was like, nah. But I guarantee Bill Burr is in that show. Like his face turn and setup in this episode, that was on the second watch. I was like, Bill Burr's in Star Wars forever now. He has done it. But I watched it again with clear eyes and a clear heart, and oh my god, it was some damn good Star Wars. I know Robbo's been hanging out for this episode all season because it's what he calls the better Rick or whatever. What do you call him, Robbo?
It was originally the good Rick, but you objected to that on account of some other guy. So I said, okay, how about my Rick of preference, the preferred Rick?
Okay. All right. I'll stick with my prequel Rick, McCullum, my boy. But I know you're looking forward to it all season. You haven't been that high on the season. You've been hard but fair. How did preferred Rick treat you this time around?
Oh my God. This is the best thing I have seen since his first episode. I like he did episode 2 with the Jawas and everything, which I think is seriously underrated considering how much important stuff it gets out there. But and I loved episode 6 of last season, and this one I think is even better than episode 6. It's I can't stress. I mean, it's, as you said, like, I'm not crazy. I wouldn't say like I've been down on the other parts of the season. Like, I don't think there was one incident that Hawes is aware of where because I was so afraid of being spoiled, I made the mistake of watching it for the first time on my tiny little phone. And everything looks bad when you do that. Just don't do it. You know, like it's. And if you're like, and I'm the kind of person who's more scared of anything that I won't like some Star Wars thing. It's like a very painful thing, but it happens all the time. So it's like I have good reason to be scared. But yeah, like other than that, where when I watched it on a proper big screen, I really liked it. I've enjoyed the season. It's just, I think the difference for me is that for a lot of Star Wars fans, what they love most is the characters, their favorite characters. And they don't care how or why they're appearing. They want to see it. And that is it for them. It's the best. Like, you know, the fact that Ahsoka Tano, right, who's been in, I don't know how many, I mean, can anybody guess how many hours of Star Wars content there is in canon with Ahsoka?
74.
Yeah, it's good guess. I don't know. It's a lot, right? But for her to appear in person is like a huge deal for people because that's what they're in it for. They're in it for their favorite characters. For me, it's really the world of Star Wars that I love so much. And I don't want bad characters, certainly not. But I don't need to see like all my favorites show up again for me to get something out of it. In fact, like the more things I recognize in it, the less the harder it is for me to get into it, because all I can think about is like, is this like, or how big is this galaxy? Is it, you know, like, is this gonna be like the Forrest Gump of Star Wars, where he just runs into everybody on his way to do something, you know? But it's Anyway, but that's why I think I had it higher.
How do you take that take, Joan Marie? Because you're a fan that I bet would like this show or a show to bump into a couple of cartoon characters, animated characters. How have you found this season with the cameos and all that good stuff?
I've honestly been struggling a little bit with it because Ahsoka, I felt she could have been done a little bit better in terms of her personality and her just overall look. And so I was initially just excited to see her, but then it kind of waned a bit with everything that was happening outside of the universe, as well as how she was portrayed in the universe. And I'm excited to, see Ezra or other characters like that just every once in a while, but not telling their whole story in live action. I'm an animation fan first and foremost, so I would like to see their stories, especially that search for Ezra story in animation rather than in live action.
Well, I'm a heathen because I respect things more when it's live action. It just from my preference.
No, I need to log off this instant. Where's the exit button? But yeah, I wish and that's a mentality that I feel like a lot of people fall under, where they, think that cartoons are second to live action, and I wish cartoons were more appreciated for what they bring to the universe.
Yeah, it's my upbringing. It's just how it was. So
What are you telling your parents are like anti-cartoon? Like, what kind of household did you grow up in?
Let's not
get into that.
Yeah, there's wounds.
It's time we had to talk about wabbits.
Yeah,
Wabbits are.
Wes will be here till 1:00, and he promised me he didn't want to do that.
That's right.
How did you find this episode and the season thus far since we last spoke?
Well, I will say it kind of felt like the wind was taken from the sails. With the previous two episodes were really had a lot of adrenaline in it. Like it had major, so it kind of felt off. But as the episode went on, and you see, like you said, Mayfeld's face turn and him, the emotion he brought to that moment before he draws and pulls the trigger on his old commander, was that alone sealed it for me. Like that made it, just what I'm liking is that all the directors, even Rick Famuyiwa, they've been able to maintain this certain tone. It all still looks and feels. It doesn't look like different directors are doing these things. And it was just another solid episode. This has been a great second season for any show out there. I would say for any show out there, this second season has been really, really good. It is like gold tier as far as I go.
What precious metal are you awarding this season thus far, Maggie?
Beskar.
Nice.
It's from that show that we watch.
Yeah, it's like a little show. I mean, most people haven't heard of it.
The Yodo show, the one with
Yoda, yeah.
Grogot. How did you find this one, Maggie?
I loved it. So this was the culmination of everything I have been waiting for. I have had like this whole philosophy about Din and the people throughout the season that have put cracks in his armor, and then they literally took his armor off, had his stormtrooper armor literally get cracked, and then he took his helmet off, and it was literally everything I've wished for. And honestly, this entire season has just been like one hit after the other, and I am loving it. I had like this wish list back in October when I launched my YouTube channel, and every single one of my wish list things have been like checked off. So like I'm happy, and I even got Robert Rodriguez, so I'm good.
was Toro Calican reference on your wish list?
No.
Jonah, we got one. The Tusken Raider had the binoculars.
I know.
That's right.
You got your wish list.
Hey, listen.
I mean, Fennec is a reference.
Yeah, exactly. If you got your Where's Ezra, let me Where's Toro. Let's just play fair.
Where's Toro? He's dead. He's dead.
No body, no crime.
I'm never going to appear this show ever again. Am I?
Oh wow!
Look,
It'll be Boo sitting there instead.
Look, I don't think anyone's shelling out for the Robo Tummy for Toro. He is not tummy worthy.
That's ironic coming from you, floating pink skull. Now, Hawes.
Yes, sir.
We had our little Patreon show on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Since then, I'm a changed man. I'm a different person that you're talking to. I might go delete that episode or just try to tighten it. Just make me not sound so. I went back and God, I had a good time. It is so rewarding. Like I found that in the tank. Like looking back at it in my head after the first watch, it felt like it went forever. But that dialogue course,
really good, right?
Spectacular.
I think we should do a George Lucas special edition of that Patreon episode where you just record different dialogue and paste it in.
We should record them the day before, but do 3 and then just put one up, whatever one's most appropriate. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I got to say, I'm just surprised that they worked out that whole drama with Pedro Pascal not being able to take off his helmet. That was so true on YouTube.
Oh yeah, Grace
folks.
Randolph.
Yeah. I'm glad they figured that out and gave him a good 10 minutes. Like, come on, guys, that was ridiculous to begin with. Like, we knew his helmet was coming off at some point this season, and it was nice to see him not all beat up this time.
Once he complained to George Lucas, that sealed the deal, I feel like.
Oh, okay. He went straight to Uncle George.
Yeah.
He's one of the nicest people. It kills me.
Gotta get the clicks. Now, this episode, I thought going into it, we were going to have a prison breakout sort of episode, kind of like we saw in the first season. However, fitting in now with my whole plan that this Mayfield's going off for his own series, they needed as much Mayfield FaceTime and reconfiguration as a turning into a hero as possible. So we head off to this very Force Awakens concept art planet, which I thought was pretty sick. What do you feel about just TIE fighters stacked on each other, Judgment Day style?
First of all, I thought it was like a junkyard. They just like threw away like surplus, and then we figured out it was the prison, and it was still pretty cool to see that. But to see like that's where they just junk everything, and that's your hard labor is to pull apart different vehicles and ships.
Yeah, it's and that AT-AT is just
way to repurpose your military equipment. Just stick a crane head on it, and there you go.
It's like what they wanted to do with the toy line in like 1985. There was like the AT-AT where they just put a cannon on top of it or whatever. And then we get the return of Mayfield and the surprising turn that it's just we can just go in and get him. What did you make of that, Maggie?
I was so amused. I'm really enjoying this season, how they're not like wasting time with things. They're like getting us straight to the like, okay, we've got him, let's go. Just like with like the Ahsoka episode, people were thinking we weren't going to get her until later in the episode. And then it was like, okay, here she is, moving on with the story. It's great. It's great storytelling.
It's so exciting to watch. It was, I was sort of puzzled. Hawes.
Yes, sir.
What's your reaction to this little repaint?
Oh, man, look at him. My man went to Target and got some spray paint.
When are we getting the action figure? I'm ready to own my very first Boba Fett action figure.
Oh, I'll be buying some merch of that.
Doing my animation reference here, but totally reminded me of Sabine.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I love the whole repaint and the sort of theory that because it's been worn by someone else, he has to like refresh it and stuff.
Oh, you mean my theory? The theory, the skull that came up with the theory is floating beneath you.
Where would I have heard you spout this theory?
You heard Hawes attribute it to me on that very podcast you were talking about.
Yeah, when I said, like, Hawes, did I say exactly the same thing?
Hey, whoa, leave me out of this. Hey, whoa.
You did.
I'm not
That's
getting
exactly
in between
what
the
I
floating
said.
skull and an Australian. Not me.
No, I told Hawes. That was my theory that I gave to Hawes because
Okay, and the whole thing about the skateboard trucks and all that was all yours as well?
No,
Oh.
no.
Hawes, would you like to chime in now?
I plead the fifth.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, look, all right. I'm just saying that chronologically, Hawes heard it from me before he heard it from you, and he decides. Hawes, what's it
Decide,
gonna be?
Hawes.
Decide Hawes.
I think my stuff's messing up.
Yeah.
I don't know what's
All right.
going on. I can't hear you guys.
Jonah, what do you think about Robbo's amazing theory about why Boba Fett repainted his outfit? Like, Robbo, it must be just an honor to be on with such a Star Wars savant as floating pink skull over there.
Would you please restate the theory?
Okay. So I think Steele and I have a slightly different versions of it, but the basic idea is that, okay, so somebody else was wearing that armor, right?
Wait. Can I just go back? So the thing I copied off you is slightly different. Is that what you just said?
I never accused you of copying. I just said you didn't attribute it to me.
Hawes, did he accuse me of copying? Hawes,
Roll
you're
the tape.
useless, buddy.
Maybe a
roll
little
tape.
bit. Maybe a little bit.
See, maybe a little bit. So in Hawes language, that means yes.
All I said was
Go
that
on.
you had the idea after I did, and I can prove it.
Okay.
But I won't. So no, like my thought was that because he's making a big deal about how it's my father's armor and I got to get it back, and like if it's
That was a really good impression.
That was
Thank
pretty
you.
solid. Yeah.
I've been working on it. I won't lie. In the mirror for days. Just yeah. I want to get all the facial expressions just right.
It's sad that you can't show it to us though through your
Oh no,
screen.
this is it.
That's it. Okay.
Yeah, no. So my theory is like if that's the way it is, which I didn't know I never knew that was supposed to be his dad's armor. So, which may be a new thing, or it may not be, but I think it's cool because then it implies that okay, he knows some other dude was in that armor. Handsome as that dude was, as fantastic as his hair was, yeah, I see, Maggie. You're right. I would never deny that. That is like to a Mandalorian of whatever variety he is. That could be like sacrilege. That's like somebody's stealing and befouling your family heirloom, right? So it's the first chance he gets. He has to like maybe sanitize it by putting a new coat of paint on it.
I feel like I have to be sanitized after hearing befouling. That's a ripping word, dude.
Look,
Sounded
it's
like he was reading a Magic the Gathering card.
Seriously. I don't know. It feels a little bare bones.
oh.
Get it?
No.
on.
No.
It's on.
You can't see me clapping, but I'll do it with my teeth.
Thank you.
Oh my!
I mean, what does anybody think of that? Is that like track with what we know about? I mean, I know
I could see that. Yeah, it's tainted, so he has to cleanse it, reclaim it for himself. I could see that.
and those
So
are
I
like
didn't-
oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay, like I'll just really quick. Those are like maybe to him, those are like the scars of another man's battle, right? Like that's like and that I only thought about kind of after I heard what Steele was saying about the trucks, right? I thought that's a pretty good point. Like maybe he has to repaint it because he didn't earn those like gashes.
All right, let's hold up. All right, so the thing that I copied off you but's different made you realize different parts of the thing. Hawes, stop looking down in depression, buddy. We've got to sort this out. He's on my stream befouling my reputation.
Sanctify it, Hawes. Yeah, no, like what happened was I listened to what you said after I thought of the original thing, and I was like, wow, Steele revealed some truth that was there all along, but I wouldn't have ever thought to think about it until he mentioned it. So I appreciate that, Steele, for helping me out. Okay, Maggie, what were you going to say?
I this morning was like, I remember something from the expanded universe about Mandalorians and paint colors. So I went back to the expanded universe, grabbed up Legacy of the Force, and went back to the stuff about the colors that they painted it. And I found that green paint symbolizes a commitment to duty, and I thought maybe I know like his armor was already green, but I thought maybe he was like, oh, since I'm committing myself to this duty that I have entered into with Den, I'm going to repaint my armor as a symbol of that. Like this is how serious I am about following through with my promise.
That's nice. I like that.
That's cool.
I like that you've got this deep meaning, and I'm like, it looks like the toy I had when I was little.
I even pulled out my bounty hunter guide because I was like, maybe Boba talked about something about like I came prepared.
Hold on, I'm gonna like save the timestamp on this YouTube clip to send to the next person who accuses a female fan of not being interested in the lore of Star Wars because holy crap. I would. You not only journey to the EU, something most people don't even attempt, right?
I hold it in my heart. I grew up with it.
Yeah, no, I'm not like that wasn't a diss. I'm just saying like
no. I'm just saying like I know what you're getting at completely.
She's been in this war since she was 6 years old.
To look at, which even King Tom, His Highness, would probably not know that offhand. So,
Wow. Robbo just came into this live stream throwing bows, man. Like, what is
throwing
going
bones?
on?
Throwing bones?
Bones too, yeah.
Oh man.
I love the new Mayfeld. I feel like he's different than the Mayfeld we saw last time. Although when I watched the like the recap, the bits they showed sort of fitted in with the sort of refreshed babyface Mayfeld character. But one of the reasons, like I thought some of his progression was a little jumpy. Maggie, what do you reckon? When as soon as he found out that Grogu was captured, he was just like on board. Like a character I feel like he used to like enjoy poking a blaster at from memory. How did you find that? And also, if you wish, if it's the sort of thing you're into, comment on that Slave One doing its rotation to keep everyone sitting upright.
I've always wondered about the inside of the Slave One, so I loved getting to see the inside of it. And I actually I paused it and I was like, okay, there's that, because I love the ships and I love like the world building stuff and seeing what's inside. But as far as Mayfeld, overall, I was like really shocked by his like character caring, and I felt like that drive that he suddenly like the motivation about, oh, his kid has been taken by the Empire, and I think that we saw a through line to him realizing like Din's commitment to getting the kid back. And I feel like he must have lost somebody in his past related to his involvement with the Empire, and like that they gave us some like emotional stakes for Migs, and I'm confused that I care. Like
yeah, he talked about that losing his squad or whatever it was, his teammates. So I guess you could say
maybe they felt like children to him or something, and there's that like emotional like attachment and connection that he felt resonating with him. But I was shocked. I don't know how I feel about this.
Yeah, we'll talk about it more when we get to the scenes, but I think it's some of the best acting in Star Wars. He he killed, like it was very impressive. Hawes, this one's for you, buddy. Din looks up in the Slave One and calls out to Fett.
It was beautiful.
It's so good, man. It still feels like a fever dream a little bit.
It's like, it's just like a cool comic book. Like I just felt like, oh yeah, it's like seeing them together. Like, what was it, like Boba Fett and the twin engines of destruction and all that sort of stuff? It was
two Mandos at the same time, dude.
It feels kind of like, in a weird way, it feels very EU, like you were saying about it being a comic book, because so much Star Wars throughout my life has been so tied into like the saga. You know what I mean? And then when they start branching off and doing things like Rogue One, which is kind of tied into the saga when you really think about it, Solo, et cetera, it's weird because, you know, the EU is allowed to explore all this stuff outside of the, you know, the episodes.
Yeah, David on the Facebook chat says, if only Bill Burr was a Star Wars fan, who cares? Like, it's sort of like his distance from it enables him to be one of the best characters in it, sort of thing. I feel like there's this sort of disconnect. Like, he says all that mumbo jumbo, like, so assuredly. It flows out of his mouth just so easily. Joan Marie, does that bother you that he hasn't been to Star Wars Celebration before? And if he had been there, it would be probably to make fun of people for a segment on Conan or something like that?
No, not at all. I mean, even actors like Taylor Gray and Tia Serkar were not Star Wars fans. I mean, they were, but they weren't as involved as we are. So no, I don't really hold it against him. And I guess it really does provide a better performance in the end.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes, like, it can go either way. Like, it can either help your performance if you are a huge fan, but also if you're not, then, like, you look at, like, what's his name, the guy that made Rogue One?
Gareth Edwards.
No, the
Gary Whitta?
No, the one that came in at the end.
Tony Gilroy.
Yeah, like he can't. He's got no special thing for Star Wars, but you know, he crafted a pretty sweet thing. And then, you know, you've got someone that absolutely loves it, like Dave Filoni, and he also does good Star Wars in a super different way.
We have someone who could ask about this on the panel right now who acts. Maggie, does it matter if you have like an investment in the material? Like, to you?
Yes and no. I've found that people do work better when they have an appreciation, but not an obsession. So I feel like it's that 100-mile view where you can see something for its full picture without having like an emotional attachment. Like, I love when we have people who enter into Star Wars and they're Star Wars fans, and like they're like, they love it as much as we do. But I feel like some of the best stuff comes from the people who have that slight detachment from it. Sorry, my words are going because it's late. But detachment from the actual source material, because they're not as focused on the little things. Like, as far as acting, I think that works for acting. I don't think it works the same way as far as like actual like writers. I think those writers need to have that base of knowledge and like love and appreciation, so they're not like torturing us by killing characters we love.
Sure. That old thing. Les, how Fennec Shand, in my opinion, not getting enough lines as I would like, but she is using the screen. There's a couple of shots I've got of her where she's just giving these looks to other people.
Right.
That I'm not sure if she's getting directed to do that or if she's throwing it in. But there's this one I grabbed here.
Yes.
With Boba Fett Din saying, sort of saying, "Oh, we'll just go in. You know, it's going to be." You know, he just says, "We'll just go in and get it." And then Fennec and Boba Fett give each other this like look that just sort of says, "We are deep into a partnership. Like we are one. We need to communicate like separate from the rest of these people."
Yeah. Well, because they're also going to go further into it. Like, this is something where they got to make an acknowledgement. We may not come back from this too. So there's that, and then there's also the possibility they're like, well, why do you think you could just go in there like that? We gotta maybe take a slow down and take a beat. I'm guessing it's just her improvising and her being who she is. Her acting skills are they're top notch. She doesn't get a lot of lines, but she's doing everything. Don't forget that she gave us that iconic video game move when she jumped off in the last episode.
Oh yeah,
did that spinning back. It was basically a no scope, so it was like a 360 no scope. So anyone who plays like Fortnite and all those other games, she basically did that in it. And Robert Rodriguez helped pull that off. So
it was the Desperado jump.
Yes, it was, and so I think it all is just flowing nicely.
I'm also curious. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead,
please.
Oh, I was just going to say, I'm also curious whether she's just not used to doing the honorable thing, like Boba Fett seems to be doing. So, she was revived, and now she feels like she has this bond with Boba Fett, and maybe she's just not used to, laying down her life for others. Like Boba Fett seems to be, very honorable, apparently, given that one episode that where we see them introduced.
Based on that one good thing we've seen him do in his life of villainy, yes.
Yeah.
I feel like I got to speak up for Lindo here, who was very, very disturbed by how quickly they dispatched Fennec Shand in last season, because it's like, oh, you're introducing a new woman character to the universe, and she seems cool and interesting, and like she has a whole life of stories that you could explore, and then you kill her right away. She gets like literally jobbed out by the worst bounty hunter in the galaxy. And
no, Toro killed her.
This isn't Zuckus we're talking about. It was Toro. This is different now. So then to see her come back is cool, but I feel like she must be doing something in episode 8 or later, because right now it's like she's in every scene just so she can be there later. I almost wonder whether that's worse, because she barely says anything.
A lot of people don't trust her. A lot of people I've talked to, they're like, they have like a little bit of like, they think she may flip to the other side and do something in the finale.
I hope she does, because I do not buy for a second because I don't care about the characters as much as I just want to see a compelling story. And right now her story is not that compelling. It's like Boba Fett found her dead, basically, somehow got her to the robo-tummy surgeon in time to save her life. And then she's like, okay, I guess I'm rolling with you now. And then she just follows him around.
We don't know if Boba wasn't the one. He grew up on Camino. He might have been the one doing the surgery.
Like when he was 6 years old, they're like, okay, this is how you install a robo-tummy.
You might have seen some stuff and been like, I know how to do that.
Well, I desperately, so I can't remember who put it up on Twitter, but they said that Dr. Mandible did the, and like, if they did, could you imagine a flashback where the ant is operating on her tummy? Oh, my stars.
It's a very Dr. Zoidberg situation right there. Like, show me where the thorax is. And,
I love it. Now, Robbo, you're very sensitive to references, more so than most. I'm interested in your take in one of the great comedic lines in Star Wars, when Boba Fett says he can't go into the Imperial base because they might recognize him. What did that hit your pink funny bone just right?
I thought it was good. Like it's a good shout out, and it's like the kind of thing where if you don't know what he's talking about, it just rolls right off. You're like, well, of course they've known. He's a famous criminal, right? But then, if you know like his history, his backstory, you're like, oh yeah, they know his face because he was for a time every stormtrooper ever. So it's like, not recently, but they could recognize him. But yeah, I didn't think that was I thought that was a very, very modest and well done little tidbit to throw the diehard fans who,
And he's sort of like when he has like a light moment like that. He reminds me of Drax, where he's just like super dry, like that sort of comedy. I thought that was so dope. Bill Burr, in a non-comedic way, the way he was in that tank talking about how, you know, the Imperials are the same as the New Republic, and you know, like the villagers, you know, either way they're sort of screwed. Watching this back a second time, it was kind of like John Travolta and Samuel L. Jackson driving down the street in Pulp Fiction, just explaining things in such an interesting way. Maggie, did it tantalize your imagination the way it did mine?
I loved it. I thought it was so great. And whoever is in the armor, whether it's Pedro or whether it's Brendan or whoever is in that moment, I love the body language, because it was so like, is this guy going to shut up? Is he going to stop?
I thought they were going to reveal that there was nobody in the armor at that moment, because he was so perfectly still for a couple seconds. I'm like, there's nobody there. That's a dummy.
Yeah.
There's a thing about Miggs that I think is really interesting, because he is such an but I think that the episode revealed that the reason why he is the way he is because I think he hates himself. And so if he makes himself like the most miserable person that nobody likes, then he can like be happy with his own suffering. Because like, you know how people do that as like a defense, like I hate myself, so I want to make sure everyone hates me too. And he just seems like that character.
See also Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi. He wants Rey to just hate him and leave in disgust.
Yeah,
which is part of the reason why he acts that way, right? I think, I get the impression that, and anybody else can jump in here if you've got a better or any idea. But okay, good. All right, so I think the Mando kind of fascinates Miggs. I think that he's like because his whole thing is he knows what he's doing, right? Like he knows what he's saying, because he points out the thing that leads him to take his helmet off later. In the end, he's like, so which is it? Can you not take off your helmet, or can you not show their face? Because the two things are different, which is like something I think all of us have been kind of wondering, like what? So it's acknowledged. You think they're just like kind of playing fast and loose with the Mando rules when he does that, but then you're like, oh wait, no, he is, and he knows it. He knows he's probably like he probably can't go back already, because the thing that the armor asks him is, did you ever remove your helmet? You know, did anybody remove your helmet? Did you ever remove your helmet in front of somebody else? Right. So I think that this just fascinates Mayfeld, because he's used to hanging around with much worse people, which I think why he acts like such a jerk, because he's with like the worst murderers, you know, around. Like they're the people who the show gave us to show us that, okay, the Mando does disintegrate several Jawas, but there's a level of evil beyond that, right? Like
shooting Toro. Anyway,
that was a blessing.
That was truly a gift to Star Wars.
What, I mean, Hawes or
Jonah, like, listen, you are my impression of you. I'd see you at conventions, at Comic-Con, at Celebration. It was always just these little passing by 3-minute bursts, like so nice. But you get you in a seat for 43 minutes and 41 seconds, and you really.
It's close to midnight, and things sometimes I think just come out of my mouth.
All right, well, the Mogwai defense, pathetic. I'm interested because I had this one up here. Habits for Life says Bill Burr was great even if you never knew about his comedy, which is true. But the thing about this Mayfeld character is it is exactly Bill Burr in space. And the things like the way he talks about the Empire and the Republican stuff, that is how he talks about politics, like on his podcast. That like it's his logic. Like the real person and the character have the same sort of logic base to work off. So I am fascinated how they work out this script if it's in collaboration or Favreau just knows his voice because it is.
This was the preferred Rick script. All the shows with Mayfeld were written by Good Rick. Just saying.
There you go.
God, the pink skull turns red. I on first viewing, I found the pirate thing to drag a little. I think that was just like the snowball effect of being annoyed by things at the start of the episode, because when I watched it back, it was actually quite sharp, and it is fascinating the juxtaposition of how these guys weren't pirates; they're the actual heroes of the planet. And Maggie, I'll throw to you, but I just want to get in that the effects on it probably doesn't look good to that frame grab, but the effects of that whole chase, like pretty state of the art, flawless. It is like a 360-degree experience when you're watching it. But what did you make of it all?
I loved it. And I love what you just said about the pirates are actually the good guys, because I had that realization last night. I was like, I can't believe they had me cheering when the Empire showed up to save the day, that I felt a sense of victory when they were inside and everybody's like patting their backs and like everybody was happy. And I love that. I love when TV makes you think and like to flip things like on their heads and to kind of like ask those hard questions in a very casual way. And I think it really gets to the core. Somebody was talking earlier in the comments about like a lot of what he was saying emulates some of the stuff that Lucas said about the Vietnam War. And like I've done some research into like that whole thing and this whole thing of like who's the good guys here, who's the bad guys, and like making you think for yourself.
Yeah.
I got to give a shout out to all the speech therapists on the live stream.
You tried.
And one thing about that sequence and just some of the conversation about that village, my best friend and I, Elisa, we both thought of Cham Syndulla from Star Wars: The Clone Wars, especially when Mayfeld says the Empire and New Republic, it's all the same to these people, because in that specific Ryloth arc, you know, it didn't matter whether they were separatists or the Republic, they were invaders to that planet. And Cham had a very good point when he told Mace, you know, another armed occupation is not a free Ryloth, and how long before I'm fighting you? So it was interesting to see that aspect of war and occupation pop up in this episode, and how the average person just, you know, doesn't see the Empire or the New Republic any different.
That I really liked. I didn't like the Empire flip, but I liked the pirate flip. I thought the Empire flip was a little bit, but we'll talk about that. Hawes, there was some pretty sweet javelin tossing.
Yes.
Do you think this is a precursor for the finale and the Beskar javelin toss event?
I think it's got to be sort of a hint at what we're going to see him do with that Beskar spear, right?
Do you know what my theory is?
Sure, absolutely.
They're setting up that he is very good with the spear. He can kill someone with it, but when he tries to do it to Moff Gideon, it gets blocked and all hope is lost.
Oh, you think it's going to turn out that his armor, Moff Gideon's armor, is Beskar or something?
I just think he will defend it somehow.
Oh, I see.
And you'll be like, because like I feel like they'll use it in the finale prediction to like sort of let the viewer go, oh, he's going to use a spear. He killed someone. Now he's got the really good spear. And then I feel like they're going to pull the rug from under you, and it's not going to be good.
Look, I can't do Game of Thrones again. I have seen him fight somebody with a spear before, and he didn't have a helmet on, so he better keep the helmet on. I can't do it again. Can't.
I've made it worse. My theory.
Oh no.
Because I feel like next episode is the Mandalorian's Empire Strikes Back episode. Everything's going to go to hell. He will throw the spear. It will be heading straight for Gideon's heart, and Grogu will use the Force to protect Gideon. to protect Gideon.
Oh,
Yeah, I was thinking that, or one of those dark troopers. I'm not sure whether they're force sensitive or not, but yeah, I was thinking the force would be at play there.
But it will be Grogu doing it, and then it's like, oh no, Grogu, and there'll be no reconciliation over the break. We'll spend 8 months being very sad.
Imagine what his eyes will look like. They're so big. If he goes straight evil and he gets like the Emperor eyes, he's going to look really horrible, like just terrible.
It's going to go white like the Undertaker.
Yeah, it's going to be something. I think we got to get into predictions at some point, right? I mean, does anybody else but me feel like this is going to go really, really bad in the next episode? Totally pear-shaped.
yeah.
Look, I'm just saying, The Rise of Skywalker happened December 18th last year, and this episode is on December 18th, and I cannot handle it.
Yeah, imagine if this guy did that movie. I mean, can you imagine?
I can't handle any more pain, y'all.
Yeah, we're on the same page here.
It's going to get ugly, though. Yeah, it's going to get real ugly. And we're going to have a whole off season to just be sitting in it and stewing in it. And it's not going to be good.
And December next year, right? Jeez.
Yep.
Christmas Day.
And do you know why it should get ugly? Why we deserve it to get ugly? Because some of you heathens cheered when you saw the TIE fighters come over the hill and save our heroes. Who were you?
I think I did too.
It was not my proudest moment, okay? I realized it 5 seconds after I cheered.
I'm not proud.
I don't think that the Empire's like the humanization of the stormtroopers and stuff. I don't think that is in any way inconsistent with what Mayfeld is talking about.
Mm-mm.
It's like you've got to have some way of sleeping through the night, and like as far as they're concerned, they're the good guys, of course. Yeah. And it's like they're not necessarily all bad people. They just happen to be serving like a horrible entity. But you see the difference because you meet that guy at the end. But we'll get there.
I just thought it went a bit too far. I would have liked if it showed them all maybe having the celebration, but then, I guess they had the guy in the cafeteria, but I would have liked if it was like they were celebrating, but it also showed they were pricks, like they were laughing that the villagers or the pirates got killed or something like that at the same, like to more show like who they really are sort of thing than, because this is post Return of the Jedi and they're still working for the Empire. Like they know what's going on.
Maybe they really believe in a strong centralized government.
Yeah, in order. Yeah, that's the thing.
I mean,
it's very seductive.
I mean, that's the really dark side of the same thought. But like, that's the thing is if the Alliance operates, if the New Republic operates like the Alliance, it's just pandemonium because you don't even know who's in control. It's like everybody's got a voice, everybody's got a different opinion, and that's something I think that was even true in the EU, right? Like. I don't remember. Somebody please back me up because I don't know if I'm actually true. But I seem to recall that they showed that, especially when it's getting started, like none of the member constituent worlds of the New Republic could get along in the EU either. And they're hinting at that in this show, but they haven't actually shown it.
Interesting. Atheist Bear in the super chat says 300 spear just grazes the cheek. Is that what happens in 300?
Yeah. Interesting.
Now, this bit leads into a great scene, but I did, and Robbo, I'm going to ask. I want
somebody else.
No, just because you're such a Rick guy, you love this. I want to know, right? I thought it was odd, the whole. The scanning deal.
I had issues with it too.
Like, and I do have up on the screen a scan of Pedro's head. It's a gridded up Pedro, so you guys can really you know, if you want, Maggie, you can talk about like grid 4Z or something, and everyone else will know that you're talking about his little, you know, the bit where his mouth joins or whatever. So
I'm talking about that sweet stash.
Yeah, and if you talk about 4 in a row across, you'll sink his battleship or something like that.
Oh, really?
Oh no.
I don't know what I just implied, but I don't have time to think about it at all.
I'm glad somebody else had an issue with the scan because my mom and I watched with my mom and we were both like, I'm so confused. Like, why did it work? When did they scan his face? I just complained about this in the live stream I was on like an hour and a half ago, and somebody was like, I think they just need to prove that you're not a droid or like want it. Like, so if you're like your face is fine, you pass.
Maggie, do you know what I appreciate about your point of view? That when you say something that I also said on a separate podcast, you don't like accuse me of plagiarism.
Well, that's because I actually have flesh. And I'm not just a skeleton floating in blackness.
Look, don't be skinist on me here, all right?
I think the thing that got me in that scene outside of the scanning was just the fact that Mayfeld had a helmet and suddenly he doesn't have his helmet. And it's like, why didn't you just take your helmet with you? We could have all avoided this situation if you had your helmet.
It's the jetpack all over again.
We didn't read the script. Come on.
It was really interesting how, you know, I think he stopped himself not because he was afraid of being noticed by this Valen Hess, but it was more because he was afraid of letting his anger get to him, like the way it happened. And so it was more about not letting his anger out than being afraid of being noticed, recognized.
With stuff like why didn't he bring his helmet, I'm always easy on that because it's like I think of the real world version of like, well, you got to have Bill Burr's head out. You can't just have two helmeted up Imperial troopers going around. And listen, don't be a hypocrite, right? Ezra had that flip up thing that he'd put up for no reason, so you could see his face whole episode. Like there was no, like the wind never caught it. It never. He could jump with it up. It was
wind is costly in animation. Okay.
Sleep of Giants says the scan is like space capture. Is that how you say that? Capture? Is that?
Yeah. I don't think it's a security thing so much as it is a result of them, because he says this was set up by ISB, which I believe means Imperial Security Bureau. Yeah. Is that right? Yeah. So they're like an intelligence gathering thing. So it's scanning you because, and he says they cross-check you with their presumably stolen or hacked New Republic database to see whether you're New Republic. And then on top of that, they've got Imperial archives of like, you know, known criminals and all that. And it's I guess the idea is that like in order to access this terminal, you need to show your damn face because he's got the code cylinder, which presumably is like the key, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't. Hawes, you're good at massaging these issues. It just seems crazy that like as long as you're not wanted, it's open. We just want to know who you are. As long as you sign into the guest book, anyone can use this. It does seem like an odd turn. Have you had any luck?
Yeah, I don't get it. I'll be honest. It's still a sticking point for me because like if you could see how Mayfeld, right, could get his face scanned and it would recognize that he was at one point part of the Empire, right? And how maybe it wouldn't have the information that he defected. But why would it accept Din Djarin's face when nobody's seen that? You know,
I'm just saying though, Moff Gideon knew his name.
That is true. So wouldn't that be? I don't know, man.
Maggie's thing makes more sense. Like it's scanning to see whether you're human,
right,
or whether you're a droid. Like that, I can believe more.
Like,
also, I just want to refute. Wow, I can't speak. Refute the claim that I'm a skinist. I have a skeleton tarot card right here. I have a skull. It's fine.
That's appropriation. That's appropriation.
Oh boy.
Some of my best friends are skeletons.
Yeah, I've heard that before. It's okay. That's a kind of not so serious way of kind of veering into something a little bit more serious, if I may. Like, not super heavy, but is it okay? Like,
bring it on.
Okay, like, I think that there's a couple moments in this episode where it's very clear of what the benefits are of reaching out and diversifying your pool of directors and writers. First of all, there's a joke that I don't I think it's a joke that Bill Burr would tell, but I think it's a joke that was written by Rick, which is where he goes, and by you people, I do mean Mandalorians, which was pretty pointed, but like that was like a good joke, I gotta admit. But the bigger one is what happens next, like the whole thing about that guy. Like, he's basically like Skeletor meets Boss Hog, and he's got the Hitler's vice president's last name. What's his name? Something Hess.
Valen Hess. Yeah.
That guy, and the fact that he speaks like, now, Hawes, I'm not going to paint with too broad a brush, but I think that there's a deliberate callback to kind of like the Bull Connors and stuff of American history with the way he talks and what he's talking about. And although this was probably written before like the sort of the huge return of the Black Lives Matter movement, I'm sure it was written kind of before all that kind of fired up again, but it was after the first time it had appeared, right? And that's exactly the argument you were hearing, is that, well, what people say they want their liberties, right? They don't want to be like, beaten up and profiled and all that, but everybody really just wants like order,
law and order.
And the implication being that without us there, these people, you people, right, in this case, would just tear each other apart because you're animals. That's what it is. That is, and he's saying that about, of course, the entire galaxy in this point. But that is a level of reality, very subtly done, but a level of like awareness and reality that I don't think we've ever seen in Star Wars. Ever.
He also fell into a really neat Western trope as well of the defeated Confederate general, which I can't remember which films it is, but there's a number of Western films that feature that trope, and he very much fit into that, because I was like, you are very angry that you lost and are trying to cling to whatever you have power still over. And just the way that was played felt very much like a really awkward encounter at a bar or something, like a Western. But you hit the nail on the head. There was so much layer to that.
Yeah, it's very reflective of society today and what's going on. Yeah. It's very Star Trek, if I may say.
Very Star Trek.
Well, he was just so loathsome, and the whole scene was like so tense. And Bill Burr, how he was talking about his fellow soldiers and all that left there, and that brooding thing. He personally has done a lot of fundraising for the Wounded Warriors Project, and speaks about that pretty passionately. So I really thought he was sort of drawing upon some of his frustration with the real world, and because that's what like comedians do. Like, they draw upon their emotion in the real world for their act, and it just came out of him, like his disdain and his disgust for this person. It was so good. Like Johnny Grasso level acting here, Les. What do you reckon?
It was definitely very good.
Sorry, I gave you a bit of a loaded barrel with the
you did. You threw me off.
I apologize.
What were we talking about again?
Somebody, just because we brought it up, can somebody describe, like, who knows it better than I do, what the Wounded Warrior Project is? I think I know, but I'm probably not the best person to guess. Is it about like people returning with like PTSD and stuff like that from?
And
Yeah, it's
and
an organization to help veterans.
Yeah.
And,
like traumatic brain injuries and stuff.
Arrow Chick puts it very nicely. His loathing felt genuine.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He did take. I mean, and he balanced. We're talking about Bill Burr. He balanced the comedic and the dramatic really well. So I do agree when people say this has probably got to be some of the best acting in Star Wars. That sliver of the episode was just great. He right when he took that breath, and you can just see the emotion and just in his eyes, and then it just went to his jaw. And then I was just like, as soon as it went to his jaw and you saw him like just give that glare, I'm like, oh, he's gonna do something. He's gonna it's yeah.
Yeah, my first thought, he's gonna shoot him. You're gonna shoot him.
He's gonna blow
I thought he was
that
going to
away.
shoot him under the table. That's what I was waiting for, was an under the table shot.
Yeah, it was coming. Like, I'm like, okay, something's gonna happen here. This is not good. And when he just went all in from there, and it just wow.
Yeah.
The great thing about it was you got the feeling that he was going to do it. You knew that it would totally ruin things if he did. But then I was still going, yeah, shoot him. That'd be sweet.
It reminded me of the confrontation in Django between Christoph Waltz and Leo DiCaprio's character. And right before Christoph Waltz shot him. And it was the same thing. He was like, they were going back and forth, and just the callousness of the commander of Valen Hess just was like, it just pushed him. I mean, it would have pushed me too, I think. I think a lot of people could emote or at least feel some of that anger, at least for that character. They were just like, yeah, this is justified in some way. It was just weirdly satisfying, in all honesty.
Yeah, relatable for sure.
I do have to give a shout out in case Noel watches this, but this is Kush says pow right in the tummy.
Now,
sorry, Robo. This is sometimes, you have a dream. You put in
About Toro Calican?
Hey, chill out. It's not that type of podcast.
About Sector C7 of Pedro Pascal's face?
Yes, exactly.
Oh.
So hot.
I was in the park while my son slept today, and I was watching the episode and getting frame grabs, and I was like, when you're sort of doing stuff like this, and you say, I reckon that's a pretty good frame grab. And I thought myself, out in the park, I wonder if anyone will notice. Sal Perales, given the shout out, best screen cap. Come on, take that, internet.
It looks like it'd be a Topps trading card.
Thank you, Hawes. Thank you.
It really does.
So I feel fulfilled now as an artist. So good stuff. You may continue, Pink Skeleton. I just had to get that off my chest.
I completely forgot what I was going to say.
This has been the best show ever. I love it.
It gets better all the time. I think. Oh, okay. So it's. I was kind of the one thing that confused me. I was willing to ride with the face scanning thing because, look, nothing in Star Wars really makes that much sense, at all. If you can scrutinize anything into oblivion, but. I did not understand why their plan from the beginning was to blast their way out of that thing. Because they're telling Boba Fett's all right, we're going to need you to come in. So we need somebody to take out the guns because we're not going to have much time when we get out. But it's it seems like you guys have the perfect way of just walking out of there. You just you get in the truck and be all right, we're going to go pick up another shipment of Explodium. And you know what I mean? It seems like they could have gotten out. So I wonder whether that it might not been telegraphed particularly well, but I think there's something about the Mayfeld knew that he'd passed the scan, but they were going to figure it out pretty quick what was going on, and they were going to there's no way they were going to get out of there without a fight.
Yeah. It's they went in knowing that 20% chance of this not working.
I wonder, I feel like we've found that nothing happens in this by accident. Like things come back. Like, will this scan? Will all this grim?
Oh, I'm sure it's gonna bite him in the butt.
Oh yeah.
That's enough about his butt, thanks, Maggie. It's like it's just.
Which sector is that on the battleship grid?
Now listen. Mayfeld's face turn and good guy, was signed, sealed, and delivered when Bill Burr, Mayfeld, gives Din back his helmet and says, "I didn't see your face." That was just perfection. Hawes, did you enjoy it?
Yeah, that's one of my favorite parts. He's like, "Here, put it back on." I never saw your face, and Pedro Pascal does some neat body language stuff through the whole time he has his helmet off, where it's like, I don't know how to say it. Like it's almost like he's not used to being able to see with his peripheral vision because he's always wearing a helmet or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's something I didn't really pick up on until I watched it again today.
Yeah, it's like he doesn't use his peripheral, so it's like a lot of.
Yeah, he has to turn it on. Yeah, my son.
Like me when I got real bad neck pain. He's all stiff neck. Like
my kid. Sorry. I was gonna say my kid dressed up as Mando for Halloween this year because it comes with its own mask and all that, and he said like, I think I know why you never see the Mandalorian walking downstairs. Mm-hmm. Because you can't see them. You were just gonna die. You can't see a thing. Like it's not just like you can't see. Like you can see straight ahead, fine. He said. But if you're walking downstairs, you have no idea what your feet are actually on or what they will be on in a matter of seconds, right? Wow. Like you have no clue. So
can
anyway,
I do like a little mini ramble about the helmets and transformation? So this will be 3 for 3 on podcast of me talking about this. But I had this realization yesterday about the fact that the two people we will consider droids people. The two people who have seen Din without his helmet on have both been transformed in the eyes of not only Din, but also the viewership and just like in general. So IG-11 is a bounty hunter droid turned nurse droid turned statue who, because he saved the day in Navarro. And through seeing Din's face and like having that moment, he is transformed. And then yet again, somebody sees Din's face and is transformed in the eyes of all of us because suddenly we think Miggs is an okay character and other characters within the story. And so I think it's really interesting how they're using that as like a narrative opportunity to be like, through the face of Din, you are like redeemed essentially. And it's really interesting. And I don't know if it's like a natural, like just when they're writing it happens, or if it's like an intentional thing. And like the third time, maybe somebody else will be like transformed by it or something. But it just seems like an interesting thing to have happened now twice. Like,
it's a great connection there. I love how Mayfeld went from teasing Din and egging him to take the helmet off in chapter 6. And in this episode, he gets to see what Din looks like, and he gives that helmet back and tells him that, I never saw your face. And I love that growth. He saw the desperation in Din's actions to get the coordinates. So even though he was being a jerk in chapter 6, Mayfeld actually has like a deeper understanding now and respects Din because he's not just some stiff guy with a stick up his rear, his butt, Maggie. He has principles that he's willing to break, and Mayfeld saw something relatable and human in that, I think.
I just want to point out he has principles he's willing to break is the best compliment I have ever heard. That is brilliant.
I think on that, Joan Marie, that it was sort of like the reason why he dissed him about it all the time in episode 6 was because he knew it was important to him. And now that he's like has respect for him, he already knew that was important for him. So he knew it was like instead of how do I put it, teasing someone that they've got a limp or something, and then you're helping them later on because you have empathy for them. So I thought it was really cool that like he knew that was such a sore point like last season, so he was always jabbing at it. And now that they're sort of like, you know, brothers in this, that he's like going out of his way to look after those feelings. I thought it was when he handed back the helmet, that was pretty sweet. Les, have you followed Bill Burr much before this?
Yeah, actually, I listened to both his podcasts, and he had appeared on one of my favorite shows, Breaking Bad, and I actually saw him live at Audubon Fest with Araja and Lorena a couple years back in Irvine.
It sounds like Araj was also on stage the way you said that. I was like, oh, really? So how is it, right? It's just so bonkers. I've been a fan for like a long time. Who would have thought 2 years ago that I would watch on my television this comedian Bill Burr running away from the Slave One? It's just bonkers. It's like unimaginable. It's it is so very cool. Now, this, I feel like this shot is a big hint at that he'll be coming back for this Rangers deal, and that is showing off his pinpoint shooting. That they're going back to find him. He's going to have like Hawes. He's going to be like Bernard and Rose, and have constructed a hut and really become one with whatever planet society this is, and he will be dragged off to go on a mission. What do you reckon, buddy?
I think it's pretty likely. I don't, you know, he was pretty awesome in episode 6 last year, right? But I feel like he was even more sort of badass, I guess, in this episode, especially with that shot. That shot was really cool. That was a cool moment, and I like that he took the time to, like, because you know they had the Imperial officer guy mention that the stuff they're mining was going to make Operation Cinder, you know, like it was going to blow it out of the water or whatever. So I like that he wasn't going to leave without sort of doing something to prevent that.
And then I know you've got to bail out, but I just want you to comment. It's going up, TIE fighter's chasing, drops a payload, it falls down. Maggie's about to tear up over there, I can tell, just by my retelling of this thing. And then we get the Ring of Silence.
Oh, dude. And it looked so good. Like, I had a couple of sticking points with the Slave One effects in the previous episode, like where they just looked a little maybe off. But man, they knocked it out of the park with this episode. And then using the seismic charge, man, that's cool. That is so cool. I love that that's now just standard issue gear for Slave One, because, like, you know, we see it in episode 2, then they incorporated it in like the Battlefront games, the two new the two most recent ones, and now we're seeing it in the Mandalorian. I love that.
It is some sweet action. Hawes, before you go, I'll mention it because I know it's late. Blue Harvest podcast, one of the best going around. Love the latest episode, talking it up with Josh and Will. Where can the good people track you down?
At Blue Harvest on Twitter and pretty much anywhere else, Instagram and stuff like that.
And what would be your score out of 10?
7.5.
7.5. Very interesting. I'm glad Robbo wasn't there for that.
That's still pretty good, man.
Not to Robbo.
Oh, okay.
It's preferred Rick. Whatever. Alrighty, dude. Get some sleep, and I'll talk to you later on.
All right. Thanks for having me. It was nice to talk to you guys.
Cheers.
Nice talking to you.
All right, Oz.
And me and Hawes do a Patreon show every Friday exclusive where we just get on the phone and gush about what we just watched. Super Cruzzer in the super chat. Oh no, Supper Cruzzer. Sorry, buddy. This was the only episode without Grogu, and yet it carried the most emotional weight in the series so far. Or that not to me. Speaks well of the show's longevity. I will give you that though. I'll debate you on the most emotional weight, because when I thought Grogu and Din, like Grogu was going to go off with Ahsoka, like I bought it and I was like crying. It was too much for me to handle. I've got my little Grogu I've got here is just too precious. So I was triggered, as they say. Now, this is another one of these little Fennec Shand glances. This one that she gives Mayfeld. She's the glance queen.
She's the side-eye queen. She's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to work out what's going to happen to Fennec and Boba Fett, what their futures are. Anyone? You got any, Joni Marie? You got any theories?
I don't know. Now that I'm thinking about that side glance, I wonder whether she has some allegiance to the Empire. Like he just took. I mean, well, she was taking out a whole bunch of their people, but I don't know. I'm trying to come up with an interesting theory, but I can't really come up with anything for her.
Yeah, I would be devastated if she wasn't like bound by her, bounty hunter code on. I like all that. We've got a code. We stick by it. We've signed our contract. Do you know what I mean? None of these wacky bounty hunting lawyers. You do it as you say. Now, one of Maggie the best like little acting moments was Bill Burr saying that he had to let off some steam or something.
Yes.
Get it off my chest.
Yes, that was it. Like he does this little eyebrow raise. This dude is like
he's a good actor.
Like
I'm shocked.
He's up there with like Adam Driver as far as like, oh, Maggie, don't give me that. I reckon this is the second best acting in Star Wars.
Yeah, probably. It was just, I mean, I think part of why it's being hailed as being so good is because I think a lot of people did not like Bill Burr in space in the first season, and I remember a lot of people talking about like, wow, so we have Bostonians in Star Wars, because it felt like, and I think we're still calling him Bill Burr, and like, but I've noticed myself included trying to be more like calling him Miggs and calling him the character, because he actually felt like an actual part of Star Wars and not just Bill Burr in space.
Yeah.
And I felt like he sold us on something, and so I think that was why his performance really stood out, because he didn't even have the same accent. He was softened his Boston accent and like committed to the role and committed to being in Star Wars. And I think maybe he softened up a little bit about Star Wars now that he's in it, and so that maybe helped influence feeling natural in that moment. And maybe, I mean, hey, maybe he's really good at like pulling in that like PTSD and pulling in that like survivor's guilt. And playing on that, because that was clearly what he was playing on in that scene. So I think there's a lot of emotions and also like relevance to today that I think really helped solidify that as a really stellar performance.
And do you agree with my theory that he had a slight character realignment for his Star Wars future?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'd
watch more.
Now, Joni Marie, where's he off to? What's he doing?
I kind of like the idea of him going to that village and maybe making a few friends. So it'd be funny though if they come back and they find him in that
statue.
Not statue. No, but if they find him like wearing the clothes of the people, and people look to him for guidance or whatever, and
he's the folk hero of that village.
Yeah, I would love it that he's just like, I'm on vacation. This is it. This is my life. That
nice, relaxing. Nobody knows who he is. He's the guy who blew up. Like, y'all,
Right.
I'm the one who blew that up. I saved your bacon. Like, they bring out Celebration. They like put him on a chair and like celebrate him around. He gets a statue. It's IG-11 all over again.
All right. Darian says in The King of Staten Island, he has similar survivor's guilt.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's true.
I thought just all the themes he touched on, like both in the what was that big Jeep called, the Leviathan, or something? Was it? It had some tough name, the Armageddon roller or something.
Something like that.
Thank you. And in that mess hall, I just thought the putting those real world things like into like putting a space coat on it. It was very smart. I really appreciate it. I like seeing two people with jetpacks jump around next to a giant lizard and all that. That's very exciting for my Star Wars. But having a bit more of a thoughtful scene or two. Also, I like the whole taco. You know what I'm saying? Robbo, glad to have you back, but you've gone. We are on the final shot. What did you make of the voicemail from hell?
I'm kind of conflicted. I feel like on the one hand, unless they show that a big part of his plan is like psyching out Moff Gideon, which it would seem like the way that Giancarlo plays it is like, oh, he actually is kind of afraid of this guy, which was an interesting interpretation, I thought. Like, he didn't show like, he wasn't like panicking, but he did look like, oh, wait, I wasn't counting on this guy, which made me think like, well, why didn't you tell your like stormtrooper robots to go shoot at him then, doofus? But, yeah, but on the other hand, it's like, why would you ever tell somebody I'm coming, expect me to come here and why? I like the repeat. I get the artistry of like repeating the whole thing, that like word for word, which just shows how impressive Din Djarin's memory is. He doesn't get the benefit of those recaps at the beginning of each episode like we do. So he's pretty on the ball. But yeah, I was kind of like, I get it. Like, some things you just do for dramatic effect, and I appreciated it. And I always love a good like gloating hero. It's like, I'm coming to get you. Yeah. That kind of thing. It's cool, right?
It was his Taken moment.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, I really love Din's line when he says, he means more to me than you'll ever know, because I think there's more of a Mandalorian layer to it, because Grogu and Din are a clan of two. So, there's a clan structure, and how those exist and evolve are beyond the Empire's comprehension, because they don't care about that. So they don't understand it. So to me, that line was not only just, I love this kid and you will never understand that. But from a Mandalorian perspective, he's my kin. He's bonded to me through a Mandalorian ritual, and you will never understand what that means, because Gideon can spit out facts about Mandalore and make it seem like he knows what he's talking about, but he really doesn't. He really just uses information to instill fear and get what he wants, but he has no appreciation of it or a deeper understanding of it.
You hit upon, sorry, I just like froze, but you hit upon such a good point about like the Empire not understanding, because Gideon wants him for power that Din can't understand, and then Din says, I want it, I need him more than because it's like out of love, which is like a total, it's like with love, it's like that no matter what. But with power, it's like, if you lost a Grogu but found a Yadzi that could also fulfill that needs, it's Yaddle's other child. There is a huge difference. Now, listen, I have to give it up for Din. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, right? I've watched that finale like 6 or 7 times. He recited those lines way better than I ever could.
Perfectly.
Like, what a memory this guy has.
Right?
He like wrote it down afterwards, like some punk said some mean things to me today, and now I'm going to write them down so I can say them back.
He's like asking Carl Weathers, like, hey, did he say like more than you'll ever know or more than you'll ever understand? I just want to make
like, do you remember?
I don't want to spoil it, but I'm totally planning a thing.
Din Djarin doesn't know how to come up with a fake designation on the spot. Can recite Moff Gideon's entire speech from a season ago.
I was like, how can you not come up with a TK number? Just throw any number out there.
Transport crew.
All right, what about this? When he was recording it, do you think he just stood there for 5 minutes and then later on recorded the audio mask off with a script? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, so
here's my theory. So Boba Fett was holding the camera, and Fennec was behind him with the cue cards, and he was like.
I love that visual. Someone needs to do fan art of that.
I'm getting my iPad. I'm hoping my Procreate will let me draw.
Okay, here's another one for you because
it's like the Letterman opening monologue with how he used to always reference that card guy and stuff.
Yeah. Tony Mendez, was it Tony Mendez, the cue card guy?
Yeah, and then they ended up. This is just a tangent. They ended up having a big falling out. And
really?
That guy got fired. It was really
imagine Letterman being kind of difficult to deal with. It's a whole different side of him. Yeah. Again, no, what you just said, Maggie, reminded me of the thought I had, which is that nobody would be able to teach Boba Fett how to paint Mandalorian armor except for Din Djarin. So maybe he's been waiting this entire time for somebody who can like show him what to do. Like, I just don't know how to hold the airbrush. Like, what do I plug it into? Does it? Yeah. Yeah, maybe.
I wish I could have been like a fly in the wall, like in the slave. And he's like, so I know we have to go get your kid, but I need to paint.
Seriously.
I'll be back 10 minutes top.
But I feel like there's space YouTube for him to watch tutorials.
I don't think he's Grogu occupied with. Like, they prop up a little like data pad and he watches it on the HoloNet.
I know what Joan Marie's getting at. She thinks that Sabine Wren has a YouTube feed where it's just like showing people how to like properly decorate your Mando helmet.
How to be a Mandalore.
Yeah.
Exactly. Part one.
Nice even strokes. Don't tense up, but keep your wrist loose, but nice even strokes. Just slightly overlap and you can take care of the little spots later.
Today we're feeding a jetpack.
Just a happy little Mandalorian right here.
Yeah.
Very popular.
Bravo.
So as far as scores go and final thoughts, my score on the second watch is going to jump up considerably. Maggie, what was your wrap up of the episode's final thoughts and a sweet score? Let's rate art out of 10. One of my favorite things ever. Scores.
Oh, so as a wrap up, this episode was everything I wanted. Everything I've theorized was going to happen to Din happened in this episode. So I felt very, very satisfied. I was also right about the Razor Crest blowing up in the last episode. Just throw that out there. Like, whoa. I had theorized that. I was right. Anyways, I really liked how the arc is going. I think this has had some of the best emotional payoff of most recent Star Wars. And I would give this a solid 9 out of 10.
Tight. Les, what do you got, buddy?
I'm going to give it 8 out of 10. It just initially it just kind of felt down, and that's just because the excitement and just the feeling from the last episode was what I was riding on, and but it got great. It got better. It definitely evened out for me, and I really, really liked Mayfeld's heroic moment.
Mayfeld, he's my type of guy. Robbo.
I mean, look, it's 10 out of 10 Star Wars for me. It's like there are two sides of Star Wars that I need, and this is one of them. And it's been a long time since I've had it. The other side is like I need like the Last Jedi kind of thing where it's like exploring like the mythology in crazy weird ways that I didn't expect. That kind of surprise. And then I also need something that just digs deep into the world of Star Wars and doesn't care about anything else but making sense. I love little details in this. The thing I didn't get to mention because I think we kind of passed over it while I was attending to my my Kitty, the cat, who will only needs me and will not stop crying until I give her like a treat. But yeah, like I love how when the idea of the Empire's the underdogs now, they're evil underdogs. Don't get me wrong, but like when he says, "Oh yeah, he can't hear you because his hearing was damaged in a battle." That's the kind of injury that in a normal military you would not be seeing combat, or you wouldn't even be like, you would definitely not be driving a truck. So like the idea that they all like, you're making your sacrifice, son. I appreciate that. Like you're still in the fight. We need good fighters wherever we can get them. That was such a great detail. And God damn it, just give Rick everything. Give him everything. I'm not gonna. You can. Patty Jenkins can still do her thing. That's fine. But after that,
listen. Except like software security, everything except that. It's no good in the area of software security.
What?
Come on.
You open up his laptop and it's just like, can you please verify you have a face? All right, you're in. Good.
Robo, you wouldn't be able to pass.
Going for a 10. All right, Jonah Marie, where are you at?
I'm with Robo on this one. I think it's a 10 out of 10. And something that I don't think we touched on was the title of this episode, The Believer. And I think personally, I think it applies to Kara, which is odd because she wasn't really that much featured in the episode. But she hates Imperials. It's a very black and white issue for her. And we see her looking at Mayfeld like she wants to punch him and she doesn't trust him to do this mission right. But Mayfeld did something she didn't expect, and his actions changed her perspective. And in a way, it made her a believer, I guess, in second chances. And yeah. I think this realization is important for her because she's a Marshal now. So she can't blindly hate someone because they were an Imperial in the past. And there are people out there who have done wrong, and there's no doubt about that. But some of them actively seek to make it right. And others, like Mayfeld, they take that opportunity when they see it. And that golden opportunity to eliminate that threat on Morak showed Kara that people are capable of change.
He did murder his way into her heart.
Yes.
This episode for me is kind of like Empire Strikes Back level quality, where it's not my favorite, but I kind of know it's the best. Do you know what I mean? And the first one, I we got 10 shows and 2 movies announced, and then I just Gina's presence just
it's a buzzkill.
It is it makes me grit my teeth. But the second viewing, I was just like, this is like a brilliant use of the Star Wars universe. And the really cool thing about this season and the show is each episode does serve a certain part of what you like in Star Wars. Do you know what I mean? Like we've had this like real world and this tension. Then we had, Boba Fett jetpacking around, or Cobb Vanth and Din, and then you've got Grogu, and it's just they've served. And then you had the horror aspect of the spider episode and stuff, and it's been really cool how it's not the same vibe each time. Like it is sort of jumping around genres. So I appreciate that so well. So I'm going to jump up. I swear to God, after the first watch, I thought I was going to give it a 6. I've upgraded, Robbo, to an 8.5.
I'm glad my paint job theory did it for you.
Incredible.
And I tell you, I did listen to a few podcasts and stuff before I watched it a second time. So it was interesting to watch it with like looking out for the things that people had enjoyed and stuff. So, I sometimes listen, at the end of the day, I wish people could be more like me. Do you know what I mean? They don't like one bit of it, but then they go back and they watch it. Because that's how I feel like with The Last Jedi, people they didn't like one bit of it, so now they're like they're heavy on every bit of it.
Yeah. That was me. That was me with The Last Jedi. I'm like the biggest fan of it, but it's like the first time I saw it, it's like I kind of loved it, but I hate everything. It hurt the first time. It was like, yeah, I feel you. That's how it should be. Hate it.
So the average score, which I think might be the second highest, or it might be the highest. I have to go through before the finale next week and work them all out. But an average score of 9. So that is some pretty good action. Great episode in retrospect. Egg on my face. Next episode, I want length. And I want to be at risk of waking my family.
Don't we all? Isn't that the dream?
Find
you a man who can do both.
At the screen. Quick run around of what we expect or would like to see. And also, we'll use this run around to drop in some sweet plugs. So, Maggie, where can the good people of the internet track you down? And then any predictions, expectations, hopes, dreams, desires, other than Din's face reappearing for the finale?
So you can find me on Twitter at Maggie of the Town. It's right down here. You can also find me on YouTube. I should have a new episode up tomorrow, and that is Let's Talk About Star Wars. So it's youtube.com/C/Let's Talk About Star Wars. I'm also on the Star Wars Friends podcast. As far as hopes and dreams, I do really would. Wow, I can't speak. It's 1 a.m. I would really like to see Din helmetless with the child. I have been dying for a Grogu Din moment helmetless, and I feel like there's so I saw a theory on Twitter, and I think it kind of aligns with where like some of my thinking was going. And I love the idea of Din being like, I'm going to go in and I'm going to be helmetless and try to take the kid because they're not going to know what I look like. They're going to be expecting a Mandalorian. And like, I love this idea of him like going to rescue the child and the child being like, whoa, who are you? I don't know who you are. And I love that being like, hey, little buddy, like it's me. And I'm just like, I have this picture in my head now and I can't get rid of it.
I feel like Grogu would know his Force signature, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like so. I would hope, but I feel like for good drama, him being
he'd recognize the chin.
Exactly, but it's like those videos like on TikTok of babies meeting their fathers like twins or something and being like, and I want that. Also, I want the baby to interact with Boba and be like, there's 2 weird helmeted people now in the ship. And where is the ship? Where is the Razor Crest?
Oh, yeah.
And the little ball has to come back into play. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
He saved it for a reason.
Yeah, because when he turns evil, he's going to melt it with the Force as a sign that our Grogu has gone.
Is he going to make a mini spear out of it?
Oh, like Terminator. This is good. T-1000.
Darth Grogu.
I did think you're saying about how he's going to take his mask off. I'm sort of over it now because when I rewatched the scene, I enjoyed it. But I did think it was like a burn of that mask, like maneuver. I always pictured it, and maybe it's because I pictured it, but he would remove his mask to save Grogu. Like, yeah, as you sort of said. So, what's wrong, Robert?
For a not under duress moment. That's what I'm hoping for, because it's been 2 under duress moments that he had to take the helmet off. So, you good down there, robot?
I'm just trying to picture the scenario where he can only save Grogu with his face.
Maybe he has to scan his face.
I'll let you have the baby, but you must bob for these apples. What would it be?
Okay. No. Okay. I've theorized about this. Everyone shut up, right? I just remembered I worked out a theory. Because he's getting taunted by Moff Gideon and the dark side. You've seen some dark side tendencies. So Grogu would be in this, like he'd be dark and he'd be doing bad stuff. And to snap him out of it, Din would like take his helmet off to like connect. So bang.
And Ahsoka did tell him to connect with him, so
Exactly. And if Grogu sees grids A7 through to A13, I think it could do some.
Yeah, he would definitely connect with that part of the quadrant of his face that he's never seen before.
Right there.
Just the chin, man. Just the chin.
Les, where can the good people of the internet track you down? And any thoughts going into the season finale?
You can track me down on Twitter at LesIsMore78. You can also hear me and my other friends on our show, The Sith List. We have a new episode this Sunday. What I hope to see, look, there's going to be a very heroic moment, and then Din may be getting close to saving Grogu, and Grogu's going to get snatched, and we're not going to see anything after that. I think it's going to be a cliffhanger moment, a very bad one, and we're going to be stuck just sitting on it. Like I said before, I really, really have a bad feeling.
That's a reference.
Yeah, I got that one.
I like it. And I do have to say, Les, I've been studying across all of Star Wars content. I'm listing the top people that pronounce Grogu, like this most soothing, and you're up there. You've got a good Grogu.
Oh, okay.
So congratulations. It's not something you can just fake. It
rolls off the tongue.
You either got a good Grogu or you don't. No. Robbo, where can the good people of the internet track you down, and a bit of thoughts about the future?
Like in general or the show? Edible clothes, Steele. It's going to be a big thing. Everybody should invest now. I got you. I had to get somebody.
Hey,
yeah, I'm on.
For me, it's 10 p.m., so I'm fine. But
I'll take what I can get, man. I'll take what I can get. This skull needs those laughs. I'm like Pac-Man for laughs. I do a video game related show. It's a whole different sphere of nerdery. It's called Hardcore Gaming 101. Don't let the name fool you. We're not that serious. You can find us at Hardcore Gaming 101 wherever fine podcasts are streamed. I also do a bonus show with Steele on his Patreon feed. So if you want to hear more insufferable opinions from the skull, that's where you get him. How much a month does that cost you, Steele?
$3 a month, buddy.
Worth every penny, if I do say so myself. I'm going to throw it to Jonah Marie.
Well, you can find me. I'm just in my giggly state right now. But you can find me on Twitter with the handle at BlueJakeEyes. And I also podcast with my mom in the Geeky Bubble Pod. But we're sort of on a break right now until Bad Batch comes back arrives soon, hopefully. But in terms of, I was going to say premonitions, but in terms of predictions for next week, I really don't have anything. I just know that it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. But predictions for the series finale, he's totally going to Sorgan. With his helmet off to find Omira again. That's how it's going
to end. No idea what that means.
Sorgan chapter 4, Omira.
He's going to retire and become a krill farmer. It's going to be great.
He's going to be a krill farmer.
Oh, he's going to go back and all right.
Pretty girl, yeah.
That's my prediction.
I think he's kind of nervous around women, to be honest.
Something
about the never showing a woman your face. It might have messed him up a little bit.
I don't know.
Just throwing it out there. Okay,
I think he's going to go and take off more than his mask, just quietly.
So, and she's going to be like, "Who the hell are you?"
You said the quiet part out loud, and I love
it. Since I didn't do the future prediction thing, I kind of want to know who everybody thinks is going to be the one to betray Mando.
I hope it's.
You hope.
I don't think anyone will.
Boo. Moving on.
So I keep accidentally calling next week's episode The Betrayal, and I don't know why. I did it twice today, and it's like I don't know where it's coming from. So I feel like somebody's going to betray him, but I don't know who. And I really hope it's not Fennec.
I'd be so bummed if it was.
Because I'm shipping Fennec and Boba, so I don't want her to be bad.
Good, because I think they're going to betray him together.
Oh,
okay, that's fine. I'll go with that. That'll be fun.
I had to take my hat out of that ring.
I said I'd help you get him back. Never said why'd you after that.
Wow. Stop throwing to people.
He's like, this is my podcast now.
I'm sorry. I host another show. This is all I know.
Catherine Neen in the super chat says, I can't wait for all the Cassian roundtables. Now, Catherine, how about, as tradition, we'll call you at the start of each of the roundtables just to hear you crying with tears of joy after each one, because Catherine, she's been in this fight since she was 6 years old. Is that how old he was? I don't know how long, but she is very excited for that Cassian. James Waterman in the super chat says, great panel tonight. Y'all Steele. Hawes got Boba. Corey got Ahsoka. Alex Sells explaining got a Squadron movie. Think you're owed a Luke appearance soon.
Oh yes, a Jedi. I'm sure Grogu had contacted someone, and maybe this someone will appear
and save the day.
And save.
A lot
and
of people want it to be Luke. Yeah.
Wait, what if a Jedi shows up and takes the child from Dan after he gets him back? He gets him back, and then
I might be okay with that. I might be
because let's be real, the Jedi taking children.
They're snatching.
Yeah, real talk right there.
Just saying.
When Ahsoka said, "Oh, I can't take him; he's too connected to you," I was like, you mean every other infant ever is connected to their parents?
Yeah.
Maybe this is all a bad idea from the beginning, and it didn't make any sense in the first place.
But imagine that though. He gets the kid back. He's everything's good. The Jedi shows up and's I gotta take the kid, and he just
yeah.
Or my friend Elisa had mentioned, my best friend mentioned how it could be the scenario where the Jedi actually sticks with Din. So maybe he has a partner in the series moving forward. Yeah, that's interesting.
I like that.
I don't think you're going to get Sam Jackson on board for that many episodes, though.
You really think it would be?
I just said that 'cause I like it to see. I like to watch Steele screen when he throws up in his mouth a little bit.
Oh man,
no, I feel it's going to be Luke. It's going to be Luke, and then you're going to see Luke take it out on now who's the wise master, huh? Now who likes it?
You carry me. You carry me.
I said today, Robbo, that whilst I'd be disgusted if Mace Windu came back, I would be happy that a ex-Mad Magazine employee got a writing job. So that just sounds like their old things of Lando's cousin comes to meet Leia's pet. They're convoluted storylines I used to make fun of. Now, please, I can't even think about a world where that happens, when there's a perfectly good computer that can make Luke Skywalker appear on my TV screen. Come on, ignite the green. I
sick when he betrays Din Djarin and sells him out to.
I don't reckon. No. I'm not into betrayal. I don't reckon there's going to be any betrayal. But
you haven't seen
I am. Shut up. I'm excited to have my mind blown next Friday morning. I'm very, very keen. And thanks for everyone for joining us on the panel, including Hawes, who's probably now sleeping and just saying Boba Fett in his little snores. Thanks everyone for watching. The viewership over the 7 weeks that we've been doing this every Saturday night has gone up every time. So I really appreciate it, because we're a little humble channel here, and we're trying to do good stuff, and we've got a good crew in the chat, and I really appreciate it. So hit the little like and help out the algorithm, and hit subscribe, because I do it live 4 p.m. 4 p.m. West, 7 p.m. East every day, as well as the podcast that you can find on iTunes. Thank you, Maggie. Thank you, Les. Thank you, Robbo. Thank you, Jonah Marie. Thanks to the chat. Thanks to Sleeping Whores. I have had an absolute ball, but honestly, at almost 2 hours, this podcast has gone on
long enough.
So we are out of here. Maggie, you put those eyes back down, and may that force, that's better, be with you. That's more like it. Respect the Calican. Come on.